What's up? Oh, wow. Those words didn't come out right. Rewind. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Josh and John Luke. Joining us again for this beautiful mock draft Monday is our good friend and part of the Front Yard fam, Eagle Dan FF. And our special guest today, joining us to draft a 10-team Superflex redraft league, is the host of the Elite Seekers, powered by Destination Devi. We've got Ben Eby with us. What is up, man?
Man, I'm excited to be here. You guys are grinding every day. Like, let's go. I was like, I got to get on there one of these days. They're going to run out of guests, so it might happen.
We finally got to you, down the list of, thousands of guests. We finally got to you here.
I'm here for it.
We're very happy to have you on, Ben.
Yes, so hyped.
100%.
Yeah, amazing.
This is going to be a fun one. We've done a lot of 12-team mock drafts, guys, one or two 14 teams as well, but I believe this will be our first 10-team redraft mock of the year. And I know a lot of people watch and play in 10-team leagues. I play in a lot of 10-team leagues as well. For all the hate they get, they're still fun. It's just some different strategy going on. So one, enough of the league shame, and don't shame someone because they're in an 8 or 10-team league. And two, maybe adjust your strategy a little bit. Look at it as a different kind of game, and we'll talk about some of that during our mock draft today. We got Craig in the house, says, I have been waiting for mock draft Monday for a week. Good one, Craig. Classic Ben.
Well,
I get it.
I can appreciate the dad jokes. I can appreciate those.
Oh, Craig comes in with one every day with a dad joke, either about the game we're playing or the guest. J-Wall says, let's get it. Love me some mock Monday. And Dan, we got double Dan. He's in the chat too. Says, we love you too, J-Wall. Joey's here for the free beverage coasters. You were told there would be free beverage coasters. Yeah, those will be handed out at the end of the stream. Yeah, you have to hang out all the way until the end, and then you'll get your free beverage coaster. And he also said, I'd like to think I could make a good FYF joke, but I'm afraid it would come too late. We were 2 minutes late. We get it, Joey. Okay, I'm sorry.
So sorry.
I'm sorry. Cal's here just so he doesn't get fined.
Hey, Cal's coming up with that. I can appreciate the beast mode love right there.
But you were too late, Cal. Dan's already mailed your fine. It's going to be coming any day now, but the post office might take a couple weeks. Anthony, happy Monday. Welcome in, man.
What up,
and
Anthony?
Burner, what's up?
Hey,
glad to have you in here. Scott says, I love mock draft Monday.
Buddy.
I hope they are doing poll perception.
You're in luck.
You're in luck. One day we will.
Yeah, free coasters and poll perception on mock draft Monday.
Cal says he loves the progression of JL's background. Yeah, now there's a plant. Just tune in next week to see what else JL adds.
Yep, graduation plan.
Exactly.
What's up, Roto? I'm guessing that's Rick Butts. Forgot to switch accounts. Welcome in, Rick. Glad to have you here. And Z2, the boys. No, they boys. They are boys.
They
Z2.
boys. We them boys.
And what's up, Sully? Welcome in. Glad to have you here. And I almost forgot Jordan. Said, hey, guys, and Ben. I don't know Ben, but hi, Ben.
Hi.
There you go. Guys, if you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this draft board, and in a minute we can
get in there.
Started. Before we do that, if you guys are not subscribed to us on YouTube, we are on YouTube at Front Yard Fantasy. Go and hit that subscribe button. It means a ton to us. And man, Josh and JL recently have started putting out some killer shorts that you'll find on our YouTube channel. You don't want to miss out on those. Players to avoid, players to draft that are values, and maybe some general draft strategies. There's more of those coming your way. And if you're not subscribed, you're probably gonna miss them. Z2 says Ben looks like G-Eazy.
I can see it. I can see it a little bit. Yeah, I can see it.
I'm not mad at it. I'll take it.
Jesus is a good looking guy. So yeah,
have you gotten that one before, Ben?
I have not gotten that one before.
It's got those good jersey looks.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
During the pandemic, with my mask on, I got Logic one time, and I'm holding on to that for the rest of my life. Like I'm just gonna hold on to that. It's when my hair was shorter too, but I'm gonna pretend like it's true. That's a handsome dude, and I'll take that.
Logic's from where I'm from. 301, baby. Yep.
301.
Gaithersburg, Maryland.
That's true.
It's true.
Okay,
it's so
guys,
weird getting a compliment with a mask on, like saying you look like someone with a mask on. I've gotten that once, and it's very strange. It's like, what? I look like this, right? No, never mind. You don't really look like that guy.
But your eyes.
It's the eyes.
It's the eyes. It's the eyes.
Guys, like I said today, we are doing a 10-team PPR Superflex redraft mock draft. Lots of words, but basically Superflex 10 teams, and we're going to knock this out. Dan is drafting from the 1 spot, so he's going to be up first. Josh from the 5, John Luke from the 7, and Ben is wrapping it up, drafting from the 10 on the turn down there. So we've got people spread out. You guys aren't going to be sniping each other directly today, but maybe a couple picks ahead of time. We'll see how it goes. If you guys are ready, I say we go ahead and get started with this draft.
Do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Dan, you're on the clock. Ben, while these first couple picks are happening, spicy from Dan to start. We'll get to that, but Ben, how does your strategy change in a 10-team league versus a 12-team league? Does it change at all?
It doesn't change too much, honestly. Like running backs, I think you're always going to see running backs go pretty early in any type of redraft format. So I'm just not as worried. So if somebody else falls to me, I'm totally good with that. I won't give away my whole strategy here for the sake of the draft, but I'm happy to talk a little bit about it as it goes on. So we'll see how that rolls. But it will be similar to a 12-team for sure.
So this is Superflex. Did you say it was tight end premium?
Nope, no tight end premium. PPR is the other word I said, probably. PPR
Absolutely.
and redraft. This is redraft for everyone watching. So the draft started as expected with 2 quarterbacks, but unexpected with which quarterback went first. Josh Allen. Dan, in a redraft league, do you actually value Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes, or is this an experimental thing that you're doing to see how you like it?
They actually are pretty close. I mean, I know Mahomes is like the quarterback god in Superflex, but I think that they're close enough that I wouldn't it's not the end of the world picking him first. And this is a little bit of an experiment for me. I just want to see how it goes.
Especially in a redraft, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Long-term outlook dynasty, I would be Patrick Mahomes all day. I just think he's going to last, for a lot longer compared to Josh Allen, who, throws his body around a little bit more. But in a redraft league, I'm fine with it.
I only have to be wrong for a year, and then I can just forget about it.
Exactly. That's another factor.
Yeah.
And Josh, at the 5 pick, you decided to skip on a quarterback in this Superflex league and go Dalvin Cook. Talk to us a little bit about that decision.
Yeah, it was kind of an easy decision for me. For me, Dalvin Cook's the number 2 redraft running back. And it being a 10-team league, I think there's going to be plenty of quarterback value to go around later in the draft. So I'm not as worried about getting my quarterback right here. Lamar Jackson would have been the guy, but let's see how it goes. I like getting Dalvin Cook right here.
Yeah, I like it. John Luke, you got 10 seconds.
I know. You know what?
First round and you're already tilting? There we go. So you also decided to go with a running back. Same reasons Josh stated, or do you have some different reasoning there?
No, I do agree with Josh. I think that there's going to be value later on. In a 10-team league, I'm looking at, all right, QBs are going to have way more depth now. Tight end, I'm going to prioritize a little more because you're playing each league mate more than you would in, like, say, a 12 or 14-team league. And so you want that positional advantage becomes a little bit more important because you're playing each person a little more frequently. But Derrick Henry is one of those guys that could finish the year as, above all of these guys here. So easily. So I'm gonna see if I can use that advantage and take advantage of the fact that there's going to be more QB depth later on.
Absolutely. I like that thought process. And I do think it's interesting that you talk about the positional advantage for tight end, but then kind of go a different route with quarterback. And is that just due to the depth at quarterback instead of the tight end so shallow? Is that what makes the difference?
Yeah, there's more the value above replacement, right? It's easier to replace the value at quarterback than it is to replace the value of a top tight end.
Beautiful. Z2 says, I'm next to JL, so he's sitting here ready to snipe you.
Z2 is a hell of a sniper. He loves sniping. He'll snipe just the snipe, so watch out, JL.
Just the snipe.
Yeah.
Just wants to.
Also, Burner said, Joey Wright, I have a question for you. I'm just narrating their conversation. He said, which is more handsome, Rapper Logic or my profile picture? And Joey came in with the right answer. Burner's profile picture, 100 out of 100.
It's close.
Look at that man. That is a handsome man down there.
Look at that, the beard, everything.
It's perfect, honestly. You can't do better.
He said, just wanted to make sure I wasn't biased, but I agree. Have that confidence. Rocket Burner.
So JL, we're back at your
Swamp?
pick. I want you to make your pick, but I'm thinking you would have loved if Kelsey fell.
Yes, I was hoping you would.
Yeah. Just from
I
what you
wanna
were
talk a
saying,
little-
it sounded like that.
Yep.
Kelsey there on the turn, I think, was great value in a 10-team league like this. That was I expect them to go a little bit earlier, actually. Ben, where would you be drafting Travis Kelsey in a league like this? Like, at what spot would you start considering it?
Well, honestly, it would have been a little tougher. I might have passed on Taylor if Dak landed there. So Dak was a good little snipe. I was hoping he fell because I think they're just going to explode this year. But I'm safe in this type of format. Probably 1-7 on. I wouldn't even hate it anywhere from 1-5 on, just because of the advantage that he really creates over other tight ends. Yes, you can go with the Kittle. I'd probably say I'm leaning more towards Waller a little bit more at this point for redraft leagues. Kittle could definitely change that narrative with a really strong first 3 weeks, but Kelsey just creates such an advantage, man. There's a reason he's on like 80% of my teams, and I really believe in that advantage.
Ben, you are speaking my language. I draft Kelsey
You
too
really are.
early every time. Like, just I played that tight end roulette a little too much a couple years ago. And after having to start like CJ Uzama for the majority of a year, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm drafting Travis Kelsey everywhere I can until the day he retires. I like that. But what's interesting is we've got 3 teams of the people drafting so far. So Josh, John Luke, and Ben, all of you guys passed on quarterbacks through 2 rounds. So there were no quarterbacks taken through the first 2 rounds here. Ooh, and Dan, we'll get back to that, but Dan just started quarterback, tight end with George Kittle, Darren Waller. Dan, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they were saying, tight end is such a positional advantage in this, and there's top 3 that everyone seems to agree on, and to get 2 of the top 3, 1 in the 3rd round, I can't let that go, especially since Josh took Stephon Diggs for me.
I just saw that you put that in the private chat. I ruined your stack. I'm sorry, Dan.
That's all right. This is a great consolation prize, so now I don't have to worry about tight end, and my flex is taken care of all year. So I'm really happy.
We might be talking trades in the near future if this was a real league. You got 2 tight ends. I'm sure we can make something happen.
Yeah.
So Dan, you're fully comfortable rolling out one of these tight ends in your flex every single week. Like, I assume that's your plan.
Time. Yeah, That's the plan. Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree with you there. I think there's only 3 tight ends you could do that with, and you managed to land both of them on the turn there. I love it. I'm curious to see what your wide receivers and running backs look like now, but I do love that start. And Josh is back on the clock.
I'm having trouble.
Ben, while Josh is making his pick, I just wanted to ask you, in Superflex leagues, do you generally tend to wait on quarterback? Like, I know JL still does. Even in Superflex, he'll wait, especially on that second one, or do you like to grab a guy or 2 early?
Yeah, I don't think you should wait too long. If you're going to do it, just wait all the way and have a couple of late round targets that you're comfortable with. But at some point, waiting, you're probably going to have to go 3 in a row, in my opinion, just to safely be able to play the matchups. But that's a dangerous game in Superflex. 10 team, I'm going to be less worried about that. 12 team, I'll play. Sometimes people will start passing on quarterbacks, and that's fine. And you can start to hoard quarterbacks with trades. I know people are like, I'm not going to trade you. And then they do, like 3 weeks later, they have to. So, I have been known to start leagues with 6-7 quarterbacks if it fell that way. And
that's awesome.
Those teams, I was just in a huge league with some amazing analysts out there, including like Marcus Grant and stuff. And a bunch of them, I went undefeated last year, won the league. So nice. I started with like 6 quarterbacks, and then everybody's like, we're not trading. And then everybody had to trade, and I was cleaning up because I set the market. So
was it a Superflex league
here, Ben?
Yes, it was a Superflex.
Okay. I was going to say, I think that makes a lot more sense in Superflex than in 1 QB. You're probably not going to be able to corner that trade market in 1 quarterback leagues, but in Superflex for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And there goes a quarterback. Joe Burrow. We had Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. JL, I want to ask you about that Tom Brady pick over the next 2 quarterbacks taken, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. In redraft, is that how you have them playing out? You think Tom Brady's going to have a better year than those 2 guys?
Yeah, I do. I actually think that Tom Brady's coming off another great season. And in redraft, his age doesn't bother me. He's got all of the same pieces that he had last year. And I think this is going to be a good offense. So I have no qualms taking Tom Brady ahead of Herbert, who I think will likely regress, and Joe Burrow, who I'm excited about, but I'm excited about his upside. I'm not expecting him to come in and be the QB in the top 5 QBs on the
And
season.
is he going to run like he was before the injury?
Exactly.
Like, that's another concern, right?
Exactly.
Hey, JL, so tell me a little bit about Herbert regressing, because obviously Lombardi's there, and they're already talking about, like, they've been working on up-tempo, like, no-huddle offense that Herbert ran at Oregon. So I've been really going after certain Chargers guys at certain ADPs because of that uptick in potential
Keenan
passing
Allen,
plays.
a.k.a.
Well,
I don't want to give his name away.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Keenan definitely falls. He's either going to fall way too late or he's going to go way too early. So if he falls late, absolutely. Mike Williams, I'm loving right now because there's a lot of chatter out there at his ADP. If he does get that Michael Thomas role, that could be crazy. A guy like Jared Cook at the end of your drafts and tight end.
I love Jared Cook at the end of the draft.
I mean, he knows Lombardi's offense. He's coming over. They brought him over there for a reason. So when you're talking redraft, like that could be, it's definitely a risk, right? Because you got Parham there as well, who I think is talented and going to grow into his role as the season goes on. But Cook's been doing it. So as long as Cook's on the field, that's interesting. But either way, that's kind of
say it's a risk, but in the last round of your draft, basically, like where you're getting Cook, not last, maybe one of the last rounds, but how much of a risk is it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Cook call. I mean, time and time again, he's just good enough to be a starting tight end on your roster, right? I mean, I'm not saying since he's left Las Vegas, or I think it was still Oakland when he was there, he hasn't been this like top 5 guy, but as a late round guy, it's about as good as you can get with that upside that you're talking about. Like if they do in fact run the offense like they're saying they're going to, Cook is one of the few late round guys that I think has that like top 5, top 6 upside there. Mm-hmm. Not calling for it at all. I think that would be preposterous to guarantee a Jared Cook top 5 tight end season, but in those last rounds, you're looking for the guy that can pop.
It definitely kind of makes sense for them to transition to that type of offense too, because yes, they have a great defense, and bringing Derwin James off of injury is going to be massive for them. But they're in the same division as the Chiefs. They're in the division with the Raiders, who I think are going to get to that point. I think we're going to see a big jump from the Raiders. Like there's moments from them. So to me, you're still going to have to be able to put up points. And, trying to grind it out with, we got Eckler there, but he's not your grinder. You want to keep him on the field, get the ball in his hands as much as you can. Are you going to ride with Josh Kelly? You're going to go Larry Roundtree, Justin Jackson? Like, I just think it makes sense for what they have to go with that up tempo. So we'll see how it plays out, but that's kind of where, I've been rolling the dice at lately.
I also love the rainbow on your team. You got a wide receiver, a tight end, a running back, and a quarterback.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Cal said, Ben pumped about Herbert with Lombardi. He's agreeing with you there. Yeah. He's excited about it. And Jay said, Ava Kate says, hello, guys. Well, hello. Back to you from the whole yard team.
What up, Ava Kate?
And Jay is loving your team so far, Ben. He's liking
Thanks,
what you're
Jay.
putting together over there.
Me and Jay were in Scott Fishbowl together last year.
Oh, really? Who won?
Yeah.
And you kicked his ass?
Nah, man. I think actually I squeaked in as the wild card and ended up making the finals. So I got hot at the end. He definitely had a really, really good season. I can't remember if he finished 1 or 2 in the division.
Too bad it doesn't matter because you finished higher than him. Suck it, Jay. Z2 says Jay Wall always getting Akers and Swift every Monday. Jay Wall loves him some Akers and Swift.
I love both Akers and Swift myself, so I like what you're doing, Jay Wall.
I don't think
especially in the 3rd and 4th. Sure.
I don't think I'm gonna have this is about where I'm taking Akers, but I haven't seen him go. Like this is the lowest I've seen him go in comparison to other running backs recently, and where he's been going. Like I'm not going to take him out of Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, and I've seen him going ahead of those guys. So I'm under the impression that I'm going to have very little Akers on any of my redraft teams this year, just because I feel like there's guys that are proven of what we want Akers to be getting drafted behind him in a lot of these drafts. Now where he went here, I'll take him ahead of Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, but. Some of the guys drafted right before him, I'm not taking him ahead of. Josh, you said you love Akers? Where's that line for you? What's the where are the running backs? Like the last one before,
right where he got drafted is perfect. Okay. This is the perfect spot for Akers. I would draft him above Najee, but Najee and him are pretty similar to me. I would say that Aaron Jones, Cam Akers, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, they're all on a very similar tier to me. So and I would draft Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, and Cam Akers ahead of J.K. Dobbins. So that's really a tier right there. There's 3 running backs right dab in the center there. I love all these guys. I want to get them on my team.
Beautiful. Mike said he's so mad at Josh for ruining his Packers stat team too. He had Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams, wanted to add Aaron Rodgers to complete it.
I'm sorry.
Ruined it. And Anthony said Dan is killing this draft. I do like what the running back value you got right there at the turn with Miles Sanders and David Montgomery's pretty awesome, Dan. Were those some of the names you were targeting there? Like, was this a strategy? Like, are you comfortable with running backs in that range, and that's why you went with the double tight ends?
Yeah, I'm consistently seeing both Sanders and Montgomery in the fourth, fifth range. So I'm more than happy to take them there, especially with my first 3 picks. So really happy with the value.
Scott coming in with the fire analysis. Swift Acres can be rearranged to F water skis. Wonder if J-Wall has a story there. J-Wall, tell us what you got against water skis. Come on.
Dang.
How? Where do
I like to know where this Scott sits there? I think he sits there with an anagram app open our entire stream, and throughout the stream just randomly types in words we say out loud. And this is the first time since he's been watching that one of them turned out to be something he could use.
This F water skis feels like it might end up being a story that parallels the Bush pizzas. I don't know. I'm just saying there might be some potential here.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he spent at least some time over the weekend at the lake. So there likely is a story here. There's maybe some feud between water skis and him, some failed water skis attempts. If that's the case, Scott Fish, I feel you. Can't stand water skis.
I haven't even fact checked this, if this is right. Is it even the same number of letters? We're just going to take his word for it.
I mean, is it a good use of time to check?
Right to us.
It is. It's the same amount. 10.
He's never said a lie.
Yeah.
Fact checked. You check out, Scott. Or J-Wall said, how'd you know? It all started when I was just a boy. And Jay said, are you telling me J-Wall knows the secrets of the TVA and how Loki ends? Maybe. It all ended with a water ski.
He knows many things.
On the turn there, Ben. So you got both your quarterbacks now, both your starting quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford. Are these guys you regularly target in this range in Superflex, or are you hyped about Matthew Stafford's new location?
Yeah, Stafford probably should have been gone a little bit earlier, in my opinion. But quarterbacks kind of, a lot of people waited on court. Yeah, so Stafford definitely, he's got the weapons. They're going to have the tempo. He can sling it. It's going to be the best team he's played on offensively. And then Gaskin, I think, is still massively underrated. I honestly think Gaskin has a chance to finish as a back end RB1. I got to see him, with University of Washington, and he was just an absolute star. We kept saying he's too small, he's too small, he's too small. And the dude does it all. He can go between the tackles. He has crazy strong legs, low center of gravity. So, yes, he's small, but he has the legs to be able to get through, and he's a heck of a pass catcher. I believe Tua takes a big jump. So, I'm all for it. I think there's a reason Miami didn't go and target a running back. Don't tell me Dokes either.
I was going to say, are you worried about any potential free agent signings there in Miami, like Todd Gurley or Malcolm? Or Malcolm Brown was added already, but
the skeleton of Todd Gurley. No, I'm not. Gaskin is talented.
I think at this point Gaskin's made it pretty safely through this offseason. I did not expect him to. Of the James Robinson truthers and the Myles Gaskin truthers, if I had to bet $1 million at the end of last season which one was going to be right and only one of them is going to be, I would have put money on the James Robinson side. But James Robinson's backfield got a lot more iffy, and Myles Gaskin seems to be in a pretty clear situation going into next year. Josh, you just took your second quarterback with Matt Ryan.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about the way your team's shaping up so far?
Well, I just kind of said it. Ben mentioned that Matthew Stafford should probably have gone a little bit earlier. I kind of agree. When I was sitting there at my pick in the fifth round, I was sitting there deciding between Matthew Stafford and Josh Jacobs. I went with Josh Jacobs because I feel like there's a little bit of a cliff after him. I do like Gaskin, don't get me wrong. He's really the last running back that I feel confident in as my starting running back going into the year. ETN has all the upside in the world, but we'll see what happens, right? But Matt Ryan, I'm happy to get him here. I think this is around where he should go. And in terms of like the quarterbacks remaining, I just feel very confident that I'm going to get a good amount of fantasy points week in and week out with Matt Ryan.
Makes sense. And John Luke, oh, you're on the clock. I'll come back to you in a second. I won't bug you. Z2 said surprised they actually drafted wide receivers early today. I guess the fourth round is early for you in a Superflex league for wide receiver, Z2. I wouldn't call that necessarily early for wide receiver, but that is earlier than you usually take.
Look at the wide receivers he's gotten, though. Yeah, Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin.
Yeah, that's a sexy group right there with Alvin Kamara and Saquon Barkley, and just. Man, 10-team leagues can get wild with some of these rosters.
Yeah.
It's fun to see how these rosters end up getting constructed. It's crazy how much of a difference 2 teams makes. Like same thing with 14-team leagues. It gets bare really fast in those leagues. John Luke, I wanted to ask you about TJ Hawkinson. I'm just curious. So let's say Pitts, you drafted him over Andrews. So it looks like at this point you've moved Hawkinson ahead of Andrews in your tight end rankings. But Pitts was drafted before Hawk. If Pitts was sitting there with TJ Hawkinson, would you have taken Hawk still, or would you have taken Pitts in a redraft format?
It's tough. It's really close. I have them back to back. I am excited about Pitts' upside, regardless of what you think about statistical anomalies. I think the Falcons showed what they want to do, right? They showed with their actions by trading Julio, drafting Pitts, and I think they'll use him a lot this year. Hawk, I'm excited about, but I have concerns for him as well on that, not very good offense, I should say. And also, we haven't seen a ton of success from Hawk. Like we've seen little spurts of it, but there's a chance that he doesn't pan out this year the way that we think he does. In Dynasty, I'm a little more excited for him. And so I might take Pitts, but it's probably going to come down to like whenever I'm actually on the clock. I'm going to make a game time decision.
Yeah, I get that.
He's getting catches this year. I think that's a guarantee, though.
That's what I was going to say. I mean,
he's getting
he finished as the tight end 5 last year in a more crowded receiving room. Now, to be fair, Jared Goff's throwing him the ball now instead.
Yeah.
So it is going to change things in that offense. So, Jail, I 100% get your concerns, but I'm hyped for Hawk. I'll draft him ahead of Pitts and redraft 7 days a week. Ben, where do you stand on that? Pitts or Hawk in redraft? Who are you drafting first?
Sorry, just cut out there for a second.
Oh, you're good. I was asking Pitts or Hawk in redraft. Which one of those guys are you drafting first?
Oh, I wanted Deontay Johnson, JL.
I think it's a toss-up. I think both teams are going to look fairly rough, but I honestly think you could flip a coin. I'd be happy with either in redraft, and I think Pitts will slide a little more in a lot of leagues. And in some leagues, he might go crazy early. Like my Scott Fishbowl league, he went like 203. I was expecting him to potentially, be in somewhere in the 3rd or 4th. Hawk, you could get, sometimes in the 5th. So I'll probably take whoever. With that being said, falls later because I do think that it's probably a toss up for redraft.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Dan, before we talk about your team a little bit, what do you think about the Hawk Pitts debate in redraft this
Cooper
year?
Kupp. No, those are the only 2 guys I wanted.
Also, Scott named it. Simon is hyped for Hawk. I'm so hyped for Hawk. That is one of my guys this year. I love him.
My only issue with that argument is that he's going to get a bunch of volume is that we don't really apply that same logic across the board. Like I feel like everyone is using that logic to justify Swift and Hawkinson being, good values this year, but they don't extend that same courtesy to other teams such as the Packers if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, or the Eagles. That same sort of logic doesn't seem to carry over to some of these other players.
Well, I mean, I think it does a little. Like Devontae Adams, if Aaron Rodgers is there, I think he's the consensus first drafted wide receiver because of the volume.
He isn't there, right? Is what I'm saying.
And if he's not there, yeah, I mean, I think people would still be excited because where else is that ball going? Like, I think that's not just the volume, but like the volume without other options is probably what's getting me excited. Pitts, I think that's where I'm a little bit less excited. That volume could be there, but there are other options, not great ones, but like Russell Gage is there. Calvin Ridley is there. Like it's not Mike Davis is a pass catching back, whatever you think about him, or he's shown it. I know there's some Mike Davis haters in here, but I'm not convinced that those targets have to go to Pitts. With Hawk, I think they have to in my eyes. Also, Josh, did you see this before you made your pick?
Yeah, I did actually, if I'm being honest. And I'm sitting here like I do want Fant. I almost didn't pick him just because I didn't want to let Anthony think he decided this for me, but the wide receivers, there's just such a grouping, tier right there that I'm fine taking whoever makes back to me, and one of these guys in this tier is going to make it back to me. So I'm fine taking Fan here, who I think is a better tight end than the guys available.
Makes sense. And Z2 has a reminder for you, Josh.
Hey.
He's a daily reminder that Josh is on the clock and Scott Fishbowl.
It's so funny. He's acting like I take forever. Like my longest pick has been like 40 minutes. All right, and I must have gotten on the clock once the stream started. So you know what, Z2?
You see what you did?
For the reminder.
I'm upset.
No, thank you. I appreciate the reminder. I love you, man.
Fight him. Fight. Dan, I see now you're deciding to load up on wide receivers with DJ Moore, Kenny Galladay, and Devonta Smith. How are you feeling about the way your team is shaping up so far?
I love it. I think that getting Hunt as my running back 3 in the 7th is awesome.
Yeah,
Moore, Galladay, and Smith are all the wide receiver ones on their respective teams. So help line with steady. I'm feeling really good about it, honestly.
Smith, wide receiver 1 on Philly. Move over Jalen Reagor.
Yeah, he definitely is. It's 100%.
100%.
There's no question he is.
That's a Eagle Dan guarantee. You heard it here first. Devonta Smith, number 1 wide receiver on the Eagles.
And as for Pitt versus Hawk, I'm definitely going Pitts this year. I think that Hawk is going to get a lot of volume, but I also think he's going to get a lot of the attention as well, because the wide receivers there are just a bunch of guys, honestly.
Jags.
And exactly. They're a bunch of Jags. So they can swing coverage to him, and Goff isn't a good enough quarterback to fit in those tight windows as Stafford was. So while he'll get a lot of volume because he is the best pass catcher on the team, I'm just worried if he's going to get like the quality of the targets that's going to be lower than what we're used to.
Makes sense. Question for you guys, Dan, and anyone else who wants to answer. When I was going through making my queue for Scott Fishbowl, there was a wide receiver name that I forgot about that kind of jumped off the page at me as an option there in Detroit that I'm wondering if has any like sneaky upside, and that's Quintez Cephas. He showed flashes last year. Is there any interest in Quintez Cephas as a receiver there in that Detroit offense?
I'd rather have Amon-Ra.
Rather have Amon-Ra. Ben, what about you?
I'm absolutely taking a look at Cephas because his ADP is so crazy low. So low. He was a stud early on in college. Then had a couple rougher years before entering the NFL. So I think, there's an opportunity, right? We're talking about competing with guys like Tyrell Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think
he's a rookie.
I think he'll do well also. But Cephas I'm definitely looking at late in drafts.
I like the call, Simon. And
man, these the wide receiver value in this draft seems absolutely wild in a 10-team super flex. I know I generally go heavy wide receiver early, but seeing the way this draft board's playing out is making me question if that's the right move in a 10-team super flex league. I think maybe zero RB loses some of its appeal in a format like this.
I completely agree, Simon. Completely. There's just so much depth at wide receiver, and when you're making a 10-team league, and there's extra 2 guys taking people, yeah, exactly.
Look at the picks Ben just made right there: Chase Edmonds and Laviska Shenault. I am hyped about Viska. Like I would be so excited to have him as my wide receiver 4, like Ben does. Chase, I'm biting my tongue and just hoping that it's reasonable for my team. I'm not expecting huge things up there. Ben, I guess I should ask you, what are your expectations for Chase Edmonds here? Did you take him because you needed a third running back, or are you excited for Chase Edmonds this year?
No, I thought he would be gone for sure. I was looking at Edmonds and Rojo. I like the Rojo pick, 2 picks before that as well. I think Edmonds getting a knock because Connor's there, but at the end of the day, this is a high-powered offense. This is an offense that we're going to see a ton of plays. Edmonds, they've been talking about Edmonds like crazy. So is Connor going to come in and get some carries? Yeah, he is. He's going to take away some goal line looks? Yeah, but so is Kyler. So that wasn't a thing anyway. Like they're going to get the ball in his hands. I think you're going to have so much more talent at the wide receiver position. I know everybody doesn't love AJ Green, but when he's on the field as like a 3rd, 4th option, I don't hate it. You got Rondale Moore. He's a crazy, crazy athlete. I think he's going to be fun to watch in space. So I think Edmonds is going to have some of these huge lanes to just gash people, and he can put up huge games with 14 to 16 touches. So I'm totally okay with Edmonds here. I feel good about it.
What'd you just saw at jail?
I kind of forgot that I already drafted Deontay Johnson.
It would have been really nice if you noticed that before you took Juju. Because guess what? I would have loved to take Juju right here.
My bad.
Oh,
Best wide receiver on the board.
Josh Burner said 40 minutes. No wonder y'all aren't done yet. We done been finished. And Z2 says, I usually take longer than Josh to pick. He just likes to stir the pot. We know Z2. We know.
It's okay.
And Burner said Cephas is going back to the Cephas talks, that Cephas is the only wide receiver that played there last year on the Lions roster. That's kind of wild to think about. But I guess a quarterback was gonna have to learn new receivers anyway. So if you're gonna do that, this is a decent year to do it. And J-Wall is mad that you sniped Chenault from him, Ben. You took his Visca pick.
Man,
I feel like he has
Visca, baby.
He has to be like one of the players who just gets sniped the most often. Like people want him, and they're just so passionate about him.
Visca?
Yeah.
Visca.
Yeah,
Scott brings up a good point, Ben.
Club.
Exactly.
Ben, and I think this plays into what you were saying. Yeah, you were saying
100%.
like what's he doing
He's
anyways?
kind of saying that.
So Scott said, what goal line looks is Edmund getting taken away? He has one carry inside the 5 in his career, and he went for -1.
He's trying to score from 20 yards out. Like that's his game, right? So he's trying to gash you, and he's that type of player. So he's not going to be that short goal line guy.
Scott said Connor's coming in to take away that one. So he's going to take that one goal line carry.
I'm going to put that in my projections.
1 goal line carry for Connor. JL said, I feel disgusting drafting Chark, but he wanted the stack with Trevor Lawrence there.
I could still see this team feeding Shark. Like I could still see Shark being a thing. Laviska and Shark, they're different receivers. Now it's really Marvin Jones is the guy I'm a little nervous about. Nervous for Shark's outlook.
That's what I was going to say. I'm getting more and more hyped on Marvin Jones every day. Whenever I go back and just look at what he's done repeatedly, like he continues to outperform what people expect of him. He's a good receiver, and I see no reason why he wouldn't show up in Jacksonville and start performing. I'm trying to draft a lot of him late for sure. Josh, you are on the clock. Where are you going to go here?
I am on the clock, and I am trying to decide where to go, but I cannot decide.
While you're deciding, something I wanted to ask you guys about. In Dynasty, it seems pretty clear-cut. Trevor Lawrence of these rookie quarterbacks is the top guy drafted. Then some people have Fields, some have Lance. I think Lance is the consensus too. But those are your top 3. In redraft, does that order change for you guys? Lawrence, Fields, Lance, with how you're drafting them. Ben, which one of those guys do you prefer in redraft, if any? Are you drafting any of those guys in Superflex?
Yeah, I definitely think that they're great value picks. I'm probably going Trevor Lawrence. Like he's gonna probably have the volume. He's an underrated runner, so I do like him a lot. I think they're gonna be throwing. He's got some weapons. Urban Meyer scares the heck out of me though. Like that's the question mark for me. And I think Lance at the end of this year, by the time playoffs are coming around, could be the one that's cooking the most though. I really believe that, but I think he also could be the one that takes the longest to get going. You might be waiting until mid-season. So I think it just depends how things lay out there. Lawrence, probably your safest pick. I love Fields as probably your second safest pick with upside. And then Lance is like, I'm swinging for the fences and I'm going for it. And
exactly what I would have said.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Which is why Lance was one of my targets in Scott Fishbowl. We're talking about swinging for the fences. I think Lance is one of those guys that has that home run capability. But Dan, what do you think? Those 3 quarterbacks, how are you ranking them in redraft?
In redraft, I'm taking Lawrence, then Fields, then Lance.
Then Fields, then Lance.
I just think Lance is not going to be ready soon enough to have that much of an impact on the redraft season. And even if he starts late, you're asking a rookie quarterback in his first start to take you in the fantasy playoffs. And that's just not something that I would be willing to bet on, honestly.
Completely understand that. John Luke, what about you? Josh, you kind of said you agreed exactly with Ben, how he did it.
With Ben. Exactly.
John Luke, how do you feel about these 3 quarterbacks in redraft? We talk a lot of dynasty with them. Fields, Lawrence, Lance.
Yeah, Lawrence definitely from just the start perspective. He's starting, which I think Ben touched on. I like Fields and Lance both this year. I feel like it's most likely they're both going to start earlier on in the season, but I would probably put Lance a little bit above Fields at this point, just for how much they gave up in order to trade up and get Lance.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And you know what was real disrespectful of me? The guy that just got drafted was also a top quarterback taken off the board. Zach Wilson to the Jets, didn't even put him in that conversation.
He should be in the conversation.
He should be in the conversation because like Lawrence, he's likely starting week 1, which
He
is something
will start
Fields and
week
Lance we don't know for sure. In redraft, in dynasty formats, I think Wilson's the consensus 4 after those 3 guys. But in redraft, is there any temptation to roll out Wilson ahead of like Fields or Lance, these guys that we don't know if they're starting?
No.
Now, is there some safety to knowing that Zach Wilson's going to be the starter going into the year, and you're in a Superflex?
Absolutely,
yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. And I think he has some upside. I really think, like, you say Jets to anybody that's not a Jets fan, and they're cringing, right?
Yeah,
like, they have nightmares about it, and I think Zach Wilson's going to get a bad rap for that. But they're reloading. Like, they brought in some major weapons for him. I got sniped on Michael Carter. I totally would have took Michael Carter there. I think Michael Carter is really going to help that offense out. It may take him some games. They have Tevin Coleman. He'll probably get a shot understanding what they're going to run a little earlier. But, hey, Zach Wilson is a playmaker who completed 72% of passes against weaker competition. Like, yes, but he can make all the throws. He is one of those gunslinger playmakers that is going to be fun to watch. So if he gels early with those wide receivers they brought in for him, who knows? It could be a nice pick there. So I don't hate him, but I'm not taking him over those other 3.
I agree with you. And I think something, it was forgotten last year. It's going to be forgotten again this year. Jamison Crowder is an excellent PPR wide receiver in fantasy. And for a rookie quarterback, I think that's a great pairing. That's a good safety blanket, having a safe receiver like Crowder there on that team. As far as the weapons go there, that's probably one of the only ones I'm drafting. But I am excited for Crowder this year. We got Vincent in here. He added some more words this time. Usually he just says Cam Akers is a top 5 running back. He said Cam Akers will surpass Jonathan Taylor and AK-44 this year and be a top 5 dynasty running back.
Damn, son.
Wow. Vincent getting verbose with his Cam Akers love today.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if Cam Akers is a top 5 running back this year, you're pretty. It's more than likely that the other 2 things are correct, where he surpasses Jonathan Taylor and AK-44.
AK-44.
Am I stupid? Who is that? Alvin
Kamara.
Kamara. I got it. Took me a second. I was like AK-44. Well, that took me a minute to figure out. I don't know. I've never heard that nickname before. Have you guys? Is that like a common nickname that I'm missing?
Yeah, everybody knows
but the initials are there.
The initials are there. Anthony says, Josh, you need another QB. Roger's still 50-50. There we go.
Well, listen up. I guess he posted that beforehand, before I picked Sam Darnold the last pick. I mean, 4 quarterbacks isn't wrong. And who knows? Maybe I'll do that.
He's going to go Jordan Love, 14-6. Here it comes.
I brought up that conversation about Zach Wilson, and it completely slipped my mind that you were the one who drafted him there at the 10 spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I would take Wilson over Lance this year.
You would take Wilson over Lance this year from Dan.
Yeah, I would.
Just the safety that he's going to start. You're not convinced Lance is going to start?
I don't think I'm not convinced he's
Philip Lindsay.
And I'm not convinced that when he does start, that he's going to be what people want him to be. At least starting off. He's definitely more talented than Wilson is, but I just think situation-wise, like they have a great running game and a great defense. There's no like hurry for him to start chucking the rock like 40 times a game or anything. So while he may start, I just don't think he's going to start soon enough. And when he does start, I don't think he's going to have the kind of opportunities that make him that QB that you can count on in the fantasy playoffs when you're going to need him.
J-Wall, can't believe what you said, but Dan, I'm following.
That's where Connor went.
I'm following the logic.
I was looking for Connor. I was looking for James Conner in my last pick. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right. Go ahead.
I picked with 1 second left because I was looking for James Conner. I was like, I know he's here. Where is he? And he was picked before me. So
that's why.
Where is he on the board?
We're going into the last round. John Luke, you drafted Taysom Hill. And I believe Jameis Winston's still on the board, right? So you drafted Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston. Is that you planting your flag that you think Taysom Hill's the starter, or that of the 2, one of them will have value regardless of who's the starter, and that's Taysom Hill?
It's more of taking my shot. I mean, we just can't ignore how good Taysom Hill was last year when he did start. I think he was averaging 21.6 fantasy points a game. That's absurd. And so if he does start, that's incredible value. I probably could have gotten him later. But since this draft is only 14 rounds, I figured I'd take him here.
Well, I mean,
Talking
this
point.
into jail.
this is redraft. This would likely be like 14 rounds is kind like there. This could be the full length of a draft. Maybe one, two more rounds in redraft.
Yeah, a couple more rounds.
It's a short bench. It's like a five person bench. But I've played in 5-person bench leagues, especially in 10-team and 8-team formats. Sometimes the way they ramp up the difficulty is by making the bench size smaller.
Yeah.
So this is a reasonable roster construction, even with the limited time format. And we likely could add another round to this if we wanted to. We do have time.
Sure.
Add the round.
Go for
Add the
it.
round. Let's do it.
go.
We're going to add another round.
Make it 2. I'm on the turn.
Okay.
Well, that is fair, actually. You do want the 12th person to get the first pick in the last round, right?
Okay. Update. And then
We
you guys will
got time
have
for this.
to
Yeah.
you guys will have to refresh for it to show up, and then it'll show up for you guys.
There it is.
So everyone drafting along with us, we just added 2 more rounds to this draft. We're gonna knock those out. It went a little faster with the 10-team league. And I think we were just drafting quick today because in all reality, 14 teams in a 10-team is like 4 picks less than 12 rounds in a 12-team. But
Less waiting.
Less waiting going on.
Absolutely.
Joey likes
It's-
Matt's build at 3. John Luke, I'm going to scroll back up, give you a better look. But what do you think about Matt's build there at 3 slot? Just instant reaction. I'm putting you on the spot.
Let's see. Great value at running back. I like the Wilson pick. I don't love the wide receivers. I do like the value of Michael Thomas. I'm not a crazy Amari Cooper guy. I love the value on Jones.
Well, you're
This
wrong.
is a good team. It feels like
You're up too, Jail.
oh great.
It is a
Oh,
good
I-
team.
I-
It is a
I-
good
I-
team.
Right,
trying
it's
to thwart me.
Yeah, I was trying to let your pick slide to Gary right next to you, but it failed. Anthony Ferkser. That's a name that I'm seeing brought up a lot more in Scott Fishbowl times with the tight end premium and the lengthy draft. A lot of people taking him and excited about it. Me personally, with the addition of Julio, I'm a little bit less excited about Ferkser this year than I was before Julio was signed there. But what do you guys see as his ceiling, as the Ferkser ceiling? Ben, do you think he's got like top 10 upside, or what's it look like for Ferkser?
Sure, you could say top 10 because really, like from 10 to like 20 feels like the same tier anyway, right? So
yeah.
So could he? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're gonna be focusing on AJ Brown and Julio, and he seemed to be that third down magnet, right? Like he always just found a way to be open on third down. So you had a few more catches in there. Sure, top 10 is definitely in the realm, depending how that goes. But I'm cool. Like I don't know, he's starting to go too early. Like he's kind of on this roller coaster this offseason. Like it was like hype season, then Julio goes there, and then it was like, oh, Ferkser's not going to do anything, and now he's kind of rising up again. And so I guess it just depends on the value. I wouldn't mind him as like a third tight end, in tight end premium, but I probably not messing with it as just a regular tight end or regular PPR, no premiums.
Makes sense. Anybody else here more hyped on Ferkser? Anybody have a differing opinion than that, or are we all pretty much on the same page there?
Pretty much the same page.
Pretty much, yeah. He's in that like 10, 20 range, whatever. It's all the same guy, pretty much.
Yeah, pick your poison, right?
Yeah.
All these guys, it literally goes even deeper than that, I think. It's literally from like 10th tight end to like the 26th tight end. Like you could all make an argument could be a top 10 tight end.
Yeah.
Give me Jared Cook like
there,
7 rounds later.
Yeah, exactly. I got Jared Cook and Scott Fishbowl. I think he was the 25th tight end chosen. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, big time.
Makes sense. Mike T wants to know, what do we think of Team 2? Dan, you want to give us a little rundown on what you think of that team so far? Instant reactions, doesn't have to be in depth.
Well, I like his quarterbacks. I think Mahomes and Hurts is that, has that upside, but still the reliability of Holmes. So if Hurts, has that Konami breakout year, he could be in a really big driver's seat there. You got that nice Green Bay stack with Aaron Jones and Adams, and then Justin Jefferson and Robert Woods. So his wide receivers are loaded. His running backs, leave a little something to be desired. But Davis is starting in Atlanta, so that's a decent running back too. But then Gordon and Dillon are like just backups. But they're going to get some work, so it's not too bad. But overall, it's a really solid team. Yeah,
I agree. Weak at running back, but that's okay in my eyes. that second RB2 slot. MCAT has a question for us. Do you think Cordero Patterson is worth targeting late? I know I did. I always say it wrong, but I nailed it this time. I almost did it wrong. I corrected halfway through. I don't know if you noticed. Do you guys think Cordero Patterson on the Falcons is worth targeting late at all? We were talking about names there earlier that could be receiving some of that target volume. How do you guys feel about Cordero Patterson? Is he worth a shot at all?
No.
I mean, that's what we're talking here. No.
Leave him.
To put it simply, no, I'm not targeting late. Could it happen? Could he wind up being somewhat fantasy relevant? Probably, but
not on my team.
At 30 years old with a new team, I mean, they do need running back help, and I bet he plays some running back, which is exciting, but no. Leave him on the waiver wire, and if he does something week 1, then maybe, but I just don't see it. I don't see it at all.
Ben, I love that Jonnu pick, especially with looking at the tight ends that went ahead of him, like Ferkser, Ito Smith, Tyler Higbee. I think you got excellent value. Do you think Jonnu, out of the 2 tight ends there in New England now, is the one that's going to come out more fantasy relevant this year?
I do. I think, Hunter Henry is definitely a guy that I don't mind a couple rounds after Jonnu, but with the wide receivers they got Aguilar, solid, Bourne, solid. I'm not worried about those guys. So someone's going to have to catch some passes. You get Mac Jones in there, and that could be fun with Jonnu running up the seams. Hunter Henry's probably going to be in blocking a little bit more because they like to pound the rock, but Hunter could still have a decent upside as well. But Jonnu's that home run play. So for my second tight end, if I got Kelsey locked in, I feel pretty good about a guy like Jonnu at the end of the draft there. And then swung for the fences with Gio. That's a guy that in this type of format, I'm going to find out what's happening in the first couple weeks because Tom Brady made it a mission to get Gio Bernard there. So if Gio Bernard gets 8 targets a game roughly, then that's going to be crazy. I know I love Ronald Jones. I mentioned that earlier. I got sniped on him. You got Lenny there as well. But if it happens, then that's a steal. And now if it doesn't happen, I drop him. I go pick up somebody else. So Gio is a guy that I am loving late in drafts, especially redraft.
Oops. Anthony said, Simon said Cordero right, but called Irv Ito Smith. Yep. Nailed it.
I Smith,
Yeah, I messed up there. No, I love what you're saying there. And guys, before the stream, if you guys don't know, Ben finished 8th in Scott Fishbowl last year total. So Ben, what you were talking about Gio there, I think you've mastered that alone, your results in Scott Fishbowl last year, that tournament style shows that you've kind of mastered these late round high upside picks, like targeting that high upside. I think Gio fits into that mold pretty well.
Yeah, no, I think, just with my strategies, I do believe in going for the upside and I'm willing to go, okay, I was wrong a couple weeks in, like 1-2 weeks in, I was wrong. Let me go work this waiver wire as much as I can. And that's what I had to do last year. And then you hope your team gets hot. There's a lot of luck involved, right? It also depends a lot on who you're drafting with, right? If you're drafting with people that are going for that floor late in drafts, right? Maybe like I've seen a lot of kicker runs late in drafts. We've seen all the talk about kickers, on Twitter lately. And it's definitely a valid strategy. So my strategy is just the complete opposite. I'm hoping there is a lot more of those floor picks so I can really shoot for the moon. And if I hit on a couple of them, that's really all I need. And then I can, kind of work for floor later in the waivers.
I think you made a really good point, man, when you said that you have to be willing to move on as well, because when you're shooting for these upside guys, you can't be like, oh, well, it could still happen. You're sitting there week 7. You're like, well, maybe.
You got to cut them and move on.
You got to be willing to pivot, right?
Big time. I picked up, I told you guys I got Higgins and Ayuk late, but I also got N'Keal Harry. I was like, N'Keal Harry, it's happening, Nope, I had to drop him. Like, I had to move on. I had Wentz was my 3rd round pick. Nope, I had to bench him, just start one quarterback the rest of the week. Like, you can keep saying it's going to happen, or you can just quickly adjust because we don't all know the answers. We do our best. We get the info, and we just make the best guess that we can and hope for the best.
Yep,
absolutely. Love it. And John Luke, we talked about the Taysom Hill Winston gamble. You said you were shooting your shot, and then 2 rounds later, Jameis Winston was staring at you. You locked up that quarterback room. How do you feel about that pick, that strategy?
Yeah, I feel great. This is exactly what we were talking about at the top of the draft, which is 10 teams is going to be, greater value later on. And I'm excited. I think, the New Orleans offense is going to be good. Sean Payton is going to make produce fantasy points somewhere in his offense. And so this to me is perfect evidence that it's a good strategy to maybe not focus as much on QB. I'm not saying don't wait forever. Like, I think you should definitely lock up the year 1 and 2, but for those,
don't get Jameis Winston as your first quarterback, but the value's there at the end.
Please don't.
But I'll say to
you heard it here first.
I got Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, and I took Aaron Rodgers in the 4th round and Jordan Love in the 14th. But you got Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill in the 13th and 15th, which is going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints. One of these guys. Yeah. Right. So I don't know. The value you got there is much better than the value I feel like I got.
Now, the one thing that could be my demise is that if they decide to just do some weird split between the two, right? Like use both of them like committee quarterback or something. I don't think it's likely they'll do that, but that would be the one downfall, is that neither are very relevant.
Yeah, I completely agree. But hopefully Sean Payton doesn't put us through that this year. But he's done weirder things with Taysom Hill in the past, like
oh my!
Some inside knowledge of these things.
Yeah. Swamp
was not the weirdest thing we've ever done.
Swamp was delivering a sandwich to Drew Brees' house, and Sean Payton and Taysom Hill were in the backyard on the moon bounce, just hanging out.
First slips.
Anthony said, do not draft a kicker, and Scott Fishbowl, go for upside. This is a debate we've been having internally on the FYF team as well. In the Slack channel. Dan is on the kickers are a valid strategy. I'm on the don't draft a kicker with Ben side of these things, though. I'm going to shoot for upside picks.
Hey, I would have drafted the kicker if it fell the right way, but kickers just start in my particular league. They start going way too early. Again, I'm probably going to go look for those kickers on the waiver wire if I need it at that point for the floor later. Just my strategy. So I don't hate it. Don't put me out there. I'm going to get blown up on Twitter.
Ben hates kickers. Ben hates. I'm just kidding.
The clip of the show.
Just put that one.
And Dan only drafts kickers.
That's all.
It.
Our entire team is 15 kickers. That's it.
I like it.
That's incredible. Yeah. Guys, well, thank you so much for drafting with us. Ben, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and going through this mock draft and spitting some knowledge on us while going through this. It's been awesome.
Man, I really appreciate you guys so much. I just love, being only in the analyst side of things for one. It's blown my mind the people I've been able to meet and the stories that are out there that cross the board. We see the beef side of Twitter and the negative. It rears its ugly head from time to time. But I think what we're able to do as a community so much, JL, man, I've been seeing a ton of what you've been doing. A lot of Clubhouse stuff going back a little bit. And
yeah,
it's special, man. We have this great platform to just help so many people, give people confidence. Me personally, I got laid off a year ago from a really successful career, right when COVID was hitting, and to get something to connect to know that I didn't have to go back and work for someone, and I'm actually about to launch my own business. It really came from people around this community and just people uplifting each other. So there's so much positive out there, and I never thought I would be doing this. So just to get asked to be on a show with great people like yourselves that are consistent with it and having fun. This is one of the most fun I've had on any show. So not knocking any shows out there, but you guys are legit. The comments coming in are awesome. It is a fun group. So you guys have something special going on, and I appreciate being here, and hopefully it won't be the last time. Once that list comes around again.
All love, Ben. All love.
Yeah,
really appreciate that. And you highlighted there is some awesome parts of this community and people that are willing to help you out no matter what's going on. And I'm glad that we've all found that. It's been awesome becoming a part of this over the past year. Guys, if you do not follow Ben on Twitter, Anthony does. But if you don't, make sure you go follow Ben on Twitter at the Ben Eby. That is EBY, spelled and like that and pronounced like that. I nailed it, right, Ben?
Yeah, you got it.
Got it down flat. Not Eby. That is wrong. So make sure you go follow him. Awesome guy. Awesome follow.
Yes.
Sorry, I got you with the kombucha hiccups right in the middle of it. The bucha burps right there. The famous. They took a hiatus for a minute there. Rick said hashtag followed. He's got you in there.
Awesome.
And Joey said they said it wouldn't be my last time when I was on. It's been 83.
It's been 83 years.
Joey, weren't you on last week? Wasn't that
was about to say,
3 minutes.
He's still waiting by his old. He's still waiting by his old dial telephone. Why haven't they called me?
Well, that's
Okay,
your first
guys.
mistake.
Well, I think that is it for today. We are out of here. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And by we, I mean the rest of this group. Guys, I am going to be gone from the 13th through the 20th. I'll be back on the 21st. So this is adios from me for a little while, but I'll be back. Don't worry. And Josh, John, Luke, Dan, they're going to hold the fort down and keep shit running while I'm gone. I'm sad I'm going to be missing all of it. But guys,
miss you, Simon.
Josh, I know
trading makes fantasy fun.
Trading does make fantasy fun.
Hey,
We're out of here.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
Bye-bye.